Rain poured over the quiet countryside road as Emma's car sputtered to a stop, the gas tank empty and her phone dead. She had been driving for hours, lost between towns, chasing a job interview that already felt like a lost cause. Shivering and unsure, she saw a faint light in the distance, a warm glow spilling from a small cottage at the edge of the woods. With nothing else around, she decided to take a chance. When she knocked on the door, she expected a stranger with directions. What she didn't expect was the man who opened it, Daniel. A widowed father with kind eyes and a quiet sadness that seemed to fill the room. He invited her in to wait out the storm, offering her tea and a towel to dry off. The air between them was gentle, almost fragile, as if both were holding on to something. Emma froze as the second knock echoed through the small cottage. Daniel's eyes met hers, and for a moment, the warmth in the room turned cold. He set his mug down carefully and walked to the door. The wind howled outside as he opened it just a crack. A tall man stood in the rain, his coat dripping, his voice firm but low. "I'm looking for someone, dark hair, blue jacket," said she went missing off Route 19. Emma's heart pounded. That was her route. But how did he know? Daniel hesitated, glancing back toward Emma, who stood motionless near the fireplace. Lily clutched her stuffed bear, sensing something wasn't right. "You should sit down," Daniel said quietly to Emma, trying to sound calm. The man outside leaned in slightly. "If she's there, she's in trouble. You don't know what you're dealing with." The words sent a chill down her spine. Emma wanted to believe he meant well, but something about his tone didn't feel safe. She didn't know who to trust anymore. Daniel slowly closed the door, locking it with a soft click. "Who was that?" she whispered. He didn't answer right away, just stared at the rain running down the window pane. "I think you should tell me what's really going on." "Emma," he finally said. His voice was gentle but firm. She looked down, her hands trembling. "I didn't mean to drag anyone into this," she whispered. "But if he's found me, it's already too late." I didn't know how to say. She learned about his little girl, Lily, who peeked from behind the couch with a shy smile. One small act of kindness turned into an evening that would change all their lives. As thunder echoed outside, Emma realized she wasn't just lost on the road, she was lost in life too. And Daniel, in his soft-spoken way, seemed to understand that. But just when the night felt peaceful, a single knock at the door shattered everything. Someone else was looking for her aunt. They weren't there to help. Daniel studied Emma's face, searching for answers she wasn't ready to give. The storm outside grew stronger, the wind rattling the windows like a warning. Lily sat on the couch, hugging her bear, her eyes darting between the two adults. The air in the room felt heavy, full of questions no one dared to ask aloud. Finally, Emma took a deep breath. "I wasn't just driving to a job interview," she said quietly. "I was running from someone who doesn't want me to start over." Daniel frowned but said nothing, waiting for her to go on. "It's complicated," she whispered. "I used to work for a man who controlled everything where I went, who I spoke to. I thought I could escape, but he has people everywhere. That man at the door. He works for him." Her words hung in the air, mixing with the sound of rain. Daniel's jaw tightened. "You should have told me sooner," he said. "If he's dangerous, you can't face him alone." Emma looked up, eyes full of fear and guilt. "I didn't mean to bring danger to your home. I just needed directions. I didn't know you'd open the door." Outside, the headlights of a car flashed briefly through the storm, stopping near the edge of the property. Daniel moved to the window, his pulse quickening. "They're not leaving," he murmured. Emma's voice trembled. "Then it means he's close." Lily whispered softly. "Daddy, what's happening?" But neither of them had an answer. The sound of gravel crunching under tires made Daniel's chest tighten. The car outside hadn't left it, had moved closer. Its headlights now cut through the rain, slicing across the small windows of the cottage. Emma's breath quickened as she stepped back, her eyes wide with fear. Daniel quietly motioned for her to stay low. He turned off the lamps, leaving only the faint flicker of the fireplace to light the room. Shadows danced across their faces, and for a moment, everything felt still. Then, a door slammed outside. Heavy footsteps approached the porch, slow and deliberate. Lily whimpered softly, clutching Daniel's arm. "It's okay, sweetheart," he whispered, though his voice trembled. Emma pressed a hand over her mouth to keep from making a sound. The doorknob rattled once, then again, harder this time. Whoever was out there wasn't planning to walk away. Daniel reached for the old phone on the wall, but the line was dead. The storm must have knocked it out. Emma's eyes darted toward the back door. "There's a shed behind the house," Daniel whispered. "You and Lily go, now." She shook her head, refusing to leave him behind. "He's after me, not you," she said. "If I go, he'll follow." Another knock thundered through the cottage, louder and more forceful. The door creaked under pressure. Daniel stepped forward, heart pounding. Outside, a man's voice called through the rain, calm but chilling. "Emma, we just need to talk." She froze where she stood, tears welling in her eyes. "He found me," she whispered. "He always does." Daniel's pulse hammered in his ears as the man's voice echoed through the storm. "Emma, you can't hide forever," the stranger called out, each word slow and deliberate. But then, something strange happened. Second car appeared at the end of the muddy road, its headlights flashing twice before turning off. Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Are you expecting someone else?" he whispered. Emma shook her head, her face pale. No one knows I'm here, she murmured. The first man outside turned toward the sound of the new arrival. The tension in the air thickened. Two shadows now moved near the porch, their silhouettes stretching across the rain-soaked windows. Daniel grabbed a flashlight, keeping it low, trying to make sense of what was happening. Then a sudden voice, different, firm, and familiar, shouted through the storm, "Step away from the door." Emma's breath caught. That voice. "I know it," she said softly. Daniel glanced at her, confused. "Who is it?" She hesitated, torn between hope and fear. "It might be someone who used to help me, but if it is, that means he found him too." Outside, shouting erupted, the sound of boots splashing in the mud and a struggle breaking out near the porch. A gunshot cracked through the night, echoing across the hills. Lily screamed, and Daniel pulled her close, shielding her behind the couch. Emma stared at the door, trembling. The silence that followed was worse than the noise. Then, a faint knock came again, slow, deliberate, and closer than before. "Emma," the voice whispered. "It's me. Open up." Daniel stood frozen, every muscle tense as the soft voice called again. "Emma, it's me." For a moment, the rain was the only sound. Then, Emma stepped forward, her hands trembling. "I know that voice," she whispered, eyes brimming with emotion. Daniel caught her arm. "Whites, you don't know who's really out there." But she shook him off, her heart pounding. Slowly, she turned the lock and opened the door just enough to see a familiar face. Her former coworker, the only one who had ever tried to help her escape. He was soaked and pale, his eyes darting nervously toward the woods. "We don't have time," he said urgently. "He's not alone." Before Emma could speak, another shadow emerged from behind him. The same man from before. Everything happened fast. Mark shoved Emma back inside just as the stranger lunged forward. The two men struggled on the porch, rain splashing around them, their shouts lost in the storm. Daniel rushed to help, pulling Emma and Lily away from the door. Then came the twist no one expected. The stranger's voice broke through the chaos, desperate, almost pleading. "Emma, please stop running. I wasn't sent to hurt you. I'm your brother." The words hit her like a wave. She froze, staring at him through the rain. "That's not possible," she whispered. But his eyes, those same green eyes she saw in the mirror, told her it was true. The fight stopped, silence filling the air. For the first time, the truth stood between them, raw, shocking, and undeniable. Emma stood speechless in the doorway, her mind spinning as the rain poured harder. The man she'd been running from, the one she'd feared for months, was her brother? Mark stepped back, stunned, trying to piece together what had just happened. Daniel watched quietly, still holding Lily close. The tension slowly eased as the truth began to unfold. Her brother Adam explained between gasps of breath. He hadn't been chasing her to harm her. He'd been searching for her ever since she disappeared after exposing her corrupt boss. The people she thought were after her had twisted everything, making her believe she couldn't trust anyone, not even her own family. Mark had found Adam and brought him here. When he learned where she might be hiding, Emma's eyes filled with tears as the fear finally melted away. For the first time in years, she felt safe. Daniel stepped forward, offering a steady hand. "You're home now," he said softly, his voice warm and certain. Lily, sensing the calm, slipped from behind her father and handed Emma her little stuffed bear. "You can stay with us," she whispered. Emma smiled, touched by the simple kindness. The storm outside began to fade, leaving only the sound of soft rain. She looked at Daniel, then at Adam, realizing how much one knock on a stranger's door had changed everything. She had come searching for directions, but found a family instead. Sometimes, being lost is what leads you exactly where you belong.